All right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the adventures of Adam. Decided to do another live react. I had fun doing it last week. I don't know if this week's topic will be as spicy as last week's, but I wanted to do it anyway, so here we are doing it. So, let's dive in. This one's shorter, so we'll do this one first, and it also came out Tuesday, so more people probably seen it, which means as people trickle in, there's only a couple things I really want to give my thoughts on, so we're going to start with this one.
Hey guys, this is Simon from Fateless. Today we're going to be looking at one of the biggest pain points that we got feedback about from the alpha test. It's also something which I've seen some comments about from last week's video when we talked about Arena, and that is the feel of the UI in battle. So Sham and I spent a good afternoon going through rearranging UI elements and trying to make it just feel better from a player point of view. What I want to do quickly is actually just...
So what, he's got this thing right here that keeps counting down from 10. It hits 0 and it starts at 10 again. So I'm wondering what this is. And there's like a treasure chest right here. Is it resources getting added to his treasure chest? I don't know.
Show you the kind of like alpha screen here for Fafnir before we'd already made some tweaks. So this is on a video from...
I'm going to put this on a slightly higher speed. Just because there's only a few things in here that I really wanted to give my feedback on, and I have already seen this. So we're going to speed through this a little bit. I'm going to do 1.5 speed.
Scrolls of Anubis, one of the content creators that has covered the game, and it's also got a website out for Godforge. So there's a few things that we're trying to achieve. Okay, we want to have a number of elements on the screen. So we want to have a turn order on the screen. We want to have this sort of ability for you to utilize your ultimates. Ultimates in Godforge are buttons, and actually for us, we're using the portrait as a button for you to activate ultimates. And we need to see all of the heroes for that battle on the screen because you might chain ultimates together. Okay, so we need the 5 portraits available and visible. We also need for a mobile player to be able to press them because they're buttons. Bottom right will be abilities. It's turned off right now because we're on auto, but if you're not on auto, you'll see the abilities and you'll be able to utilize those.
All right,
we want these larger than life bosses, okay? These epic moments where it feels like I'm battling something much stronger than me. And within that, we've got a challenge around cameras. We want them to feel big and in your face. But you can see here in this example, Fafnir is going right through the UI at the top of the screen. We've also got a challenge with our ultimate buttons going over the top of our heroes and almost like bleeding into them, which gives a real like lack of clarity of visibility for your team. So a number of things that we wanted to try.
These are pretty good points. I tend to agree with it. Another thing that I noticed is as a content creator, you see how he's covering a big chunk of the screen? That's how most content creators are going to set up their camera. Just bottom left is like default for most people. And he's covering a lot of information here. And you could put it on this side, but then you're covering the abilities and people can't see what you're using. So unless you tell people what you're using or the people watching have all the ability animations memorized, you know, it's not always plain. So the way it's set up right here is not ideal for content creators.
And improve on when we get to the sort of final iteration of the game. There's also a lot of information in these games. Buffs, debuffs, combat text, which tells you what's going on in the battle. All of these things are really important in a turn-based RPG like Godforge. So let me show you some of the changes we've made to these screens. Let's jump into a dungeon fight. Let's go into, I know in here, just go early level. Let's pick ourselves some.
Okay. So in this video, it's the second time that we see rifts. And there's something right here that says use rift key. We need to learn what rift keys are and how scarce they are. All right, welcome back, Joey B. And he says what the rifts are for later in the video, but I haven't seen anybody talking about that yet, so I'm really keen to give my thoughts on it. Also, this is a new background for Aru. That's really cool.
Heroes that will show off a bunch of these things I'm talking about. So I've got, we want buffs, we want debuffs in the mix.
So before it was just like what Egypt looks like today, which was like a barren desert. Now that it's like sailboats on the what I'm assuming is the Nile River, it looks more lively. There's like, yeah, this is cool. It looks like there's an actual civilization there now.
And yeah, this feels good. Okay, jump into battle. And you'll be able to see almost instantly like we've made quite a big change. So
that camera intro is so cool.
we've now moved turn order over to the right-hand side. So that's still an interactive
Oh, 4 waves.
button, or interactive, sorry, button that you can see who's due next and what order they're coming in. I can also just like flip.
Actually, I'm going to pause it right here. Okay, so I'm going to take this and make it full screen just for a second. So as a content creator, I can now set my thing up like this, and I'm not covering anything. So I know this wasn't one of the, oh, actually, it's widescreen. So if I had moved my camera up to where the bottom of the screen is, I'm hardly covering anything. Like I'm Pengu and Aphrodite's legs a little bit. As a content creator, I really like this. And if I need to, I could shrink a little bit and then I'm really not covering anything. But with this setup, it's so much more efficient. I don't even know if that was their intended purpose, but it's something, these are the kinds of things as a content creator that I look at. And I always think to myself, man, I wish they could design with us in mind. But yeah, that's really cool. So I like this new setup a lot for that reason.
The arrow and grab my info button and see what's going on for my team.
Oh my god, the info screens are amazing. This is 1,000 times better than what we see in Raid. Like all you get in Raid is like buffs and debuffs. We have health bar, initiative, turn meter. It looks like there's shield represented here too. I mean, you get everything. You like, this is amazing.
What's going on for the enemy team? I can actually look at abilities in here.
So this is so cool. If you're struggling through Doom Tower in Raid and you're like, man, this hero is kicking my ass, I have no idea what to do, I don't know what faction they're in, I can't look, you would have to figure out who they are, which the game doesn't really tell you. So you have to figure out who they are, then you have to figure out what faction they're in, then you have to go to your index, and then you have to look them up, and then you can read their skills. Like, oh, now I know what they do, now I know how I have to counter it. With this system, you can just read all the skills. It's right there. This is so much better. This is 1,000 times better.
I can look at health bars. I can look at divinity. All that type of stuff is going to be available in this screen. I can
actually, hold on one second. I want to get to where it shows the
arrow
overview.
And grab my info button.
Okay, this is one critique that I have. I think it should flip when it says overview, so the enemy team is at the top and my team is at the bottom, because that's how it's laid out on the battlefield. Right? So our team is down here on this side of the battlefield, and the enemy team is up here on the far side of the battlefield. To me, they need to flip-flop my team and enemy team on the overview. Just for me, it's more intuitive that way. It's like you're playing chess. You know, your pieces are on your side, the enemy pieces are on the enemy side. If it was flip-flopped, like, I don't know. It just, to me, I think they should just flip that. Other than that, this is like amazing. It's like one minor critique.
And see what's going on for my team, what's going on for the enemy team.
That's so cool.
I can actually look at abilities in here. I can look at health bars. I can look at divinity. All that type of stuff is going to be available in this screen. I can also throw on a damage meter, a healing meter, a shielding meter, and have...
It's so cool. They have this in WoW. There's little add-ons. There's one called Details. There's one called... I forget what it's called, but it has all this information. This is really neat. I like this a lot.
That running if I want to at the same time. I can look at chat, whilst the run is moving, all of that stuff. So I can do all of that. Plus I could just say, throw it on auto and turn off my UI. So there's a number of things that hide in here. We wanted it to hide because we don't want too many elements on the screen.
I think that's cool that it toggles. Like, if you're looking at all that stuff, you don't need to see the, there's only so much your brain can process at any one time. So the fact that that toggles on and off when you're going through the menus is perfectly fine.
Anytime. We want it to feel quite cinematic in terms of gameplay. Now, we've moved portraits onto the left, and they're also your button.
Also, because the portraits are over here, they can make the health bars bigger, longer, which means they can fit more buffs and debuffs on here at any one time. My initial thought was like buffs should go on the top and debuffs should appear on the bottom, just so it doesn't get too cluttered. Hey, what's up, Sakib? Yeah, I was having, apparently YouTube updated some stuff, the way their live stream YouTube Studio looks, and when they made the changes, they switched everything back to its default. So the default setting for my live stream was set to private, so I had to go in and switch it to public from private. That's a setting I've never adjusted in my life, but they adjusted it for me when they did the update, so I got it all figured out. Thank you.
And so if you can imagine as a mobile player, my left thumb is now going to be activating ultimates, my right thumb's activating abilities.
I actually like this a lot too. As a person who has carpal tunnel, if I use my right hand too much, my wrist starts to get sore. So it's cool that like ultimates, it's left hand, core abilities is right hand, or I can just, whatever. It's cool. I like that.
From a mobile point of view. We have got our health bars over here. We're also going to have any of our buffs and debuffs shown on the left here, which just gives us way more way more space really to be able to show off the combat of the game. Now, we haven't finalized on hero position or cameras since we've made these changes, because we've now got way more space. So I can move my heroes further over to the right, and then I won't have this kind of like issue that I've got right now with Pangu blocking Aphrodite. So it actually gives us just a lot more options with cameras and positioning. So if I go into the POV cam,
I think the POV cam looks way better with the setup too. I didn't like it before because all of the portraits were down here, and the hero was all the way to like the edge of the screen. You can barely see them. Here they're like apart from. I think they should move the hero in like another couple inches, like just like right here. Because my biggest beef with the POV system was that. Hi, Susie. Good morning. My biggest beef with the POV system is that you can't really see your hero. They feel too far to the left. I think they should just come over just a little bit, so they're more in my peripheral. Because like when I'm looking at the battlefield, I'm looking at the enemies. This is where I'm focusing, trying to figure out, okay, who's got the highest turn meter? Who do I need to attack? You know, like, so the closer they are in from the side, the more they're in my peripheral they will be.
I've got a much wider shot of the players, and I can see some of the cool environment that's going off here as well. And then if I'm in top cam, again, I've got a lot more room to play with, which means that when we've got, you know, heroes that are dragons or monsters or whatever, we've got more space to be able to fit them onto the battlefield and play around with them. So there's some bugs going on right now that enemies disappear and our team disappear and all sorts of stuff like that, which literally just happened yesterday before I started recording. So apologies for that, but yeah, it's bugs that you get when you're doing this type of stuff. So we can just whack away through this wave. A rift is open.
Okay, rift. I'm gonna take it off 1.5 speed for this part because this is something that I think is very important.
Opened. See, we've got a bit of bug here as well. Let's just skip that and carry on.
What?
A rift in Godforge is actually going to be an area where you can farm pages towards skill up, skill tone.
Skill up farming in Godforge confirmed. Now, we don't know what causes a rift to trigger. I am inclined to believe that maybe it's a rare occurrence. Just because last video he made, he's like, oh, when the rift popped up, he was like, oh, I didn't expect that to pop up. It wasn't supposed to. Or maybe he forgot that it was in there. It could be a normal thing that happens. But it's really interesting. So it's been one of those questions on the, like books, Sakib. So it's been one of those questions on the periphery. We don't know what they're planning exactly. I know when Hell Hades went on Ash's channel, that was one of the questions Ash asked Hell Hades, and he was like, I think we got it, but I don't remember where we landed on it. We may or may not. Like, he was kind of hemming and hawing. He wasn't sure where they landed on it. But this is the first time they have officially confirmed that we will be able to farm skill ups in Godforge. That's really cool. But the only question we have to answer now is, or ask even, we have to ask and they need to answer. Well, they don't need to answer. I would like it if they could answer, is how often do rifts appear? What is the resource to make them appear? We see the rift keys at the beginning of the fight. So we know that we have rift keys as a resource. Is that how you open a rift? Is that how you farm the rift once it's open? Like, we need to find out what these rift keys do and how scarce or unscarce they are. Hey, Aragon. Good morning.
So I say we're pretty excited once we kind of get all of that hooked up and ready to go. What I'm really looking to do now is just to show you how this feels in the boss environment. So, you know, we've got a lot more space. It's more comfortable to play the game basically in these different viewpoints. You know, you've got the POV where it's a lot more sort of cinematic.
These new attack animations, like the camera angles and stuff, are really cool. I think some games do the attack cutscenes and they go a little over the top. I think it was Awaken Chaos era or Infinite Magic Raid. I forget which one. It came out several years ago, but they had these like cutscenes where like, and it happened every time, and it always felt so tedious to like sit through the animations and the cutscenes that would play when they do their ultimates, and I didn't like it. But the way these are done, it's just they're going through their attack animation and the camera angle is just changing. It's not like its own tiny little anime that plays, which I really appreciate that. I think they found the right balance of like doing something cool without overdoing it.
And based on that hero's ability firing off at a time.
You're gonna have to talk to Joey B if you want coffee or tea.
Super sweet if you like the kind of cool visual, but then we've got the kind of top cam here if you'd rather be back observing the battle, right? So as I say, a lot more space and a lot more room and visibility on things like buffs and debuffs, right? So then when we get to a boss and we need more space for UI, we need more space for our team, I can actually get now a lot closer with our cameras than we even are right now and have like a real different viewpoint. Like if I look here at action camera, we're like a lot closer and a little bit more like scaled up. I can be in the POV where it feels really like iconic and great visual, but I've not got this kind of like top UI being a problem. All the buffs and debuffs will go over to the right here. My team can do their thing, and I've got kind of like real good visibility on everything that's going on. So it's not final here. Let me just throw some ultimates in the mix so we can see some other stuff going off. So I can do like Aphrodite ult here. Just want to get different buffs, debuffs out there, just so you can see some cool stuff happening. We get Divinity up. I can give some mends to people. What else have I got going on here? I can get debuffs on the enemy.
So he's got it on ×2 speed, and I've got the video playing on 1.5 times speed, and that attack animation looks so cool still.
There's a whole bunch of stuff now that just feels like it's going to work more effectively with this kind of like change to UI elements. And this is really the type of iteration that we're doing right now. Okay, so all of the different screens that we had for alpha, we're trying to tidy those up so that things like this screen here where I can look at my team, the enemy team, all of this.
And it's got the tooltip that pops up when you click. This is such a good, oh my gosh. Like, I don't know if they've updated this in Raid. I haven't played Raid recently enough to know, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt and assume they did. It took them 7 years to do it. Like this, in my opinion, this is like day one stuff, and I'm so glad that Fateless is putting this in there for Godforge. For new players who don't know what the buffs and debuffs, like, there's the tryhards like me who try to learn everything they can about the game before they play it, and we knew what all the buffs and debuffs did and the disables, the difference between a debuff and a disable. Like, we knew what they did before we even played the game. We had it all memorized. But then there's the people who have no idea what Godforge is. They see an advertisement for it, they download it, and they go in for the first time. They're not going to know what any of this shit means. Like, the fact that this is in here from the start is so big. This is massive. Huge W for Fateless.
Functionality is working really cleanly, and it's very like accessible now.
All this stuff too.
Being able to just kind
of the lack of information that Raid gave their players for such a long time has just been it's criminal.
Like, understand what's going on in the fight, understand the different abilities I need to deal with. It's all now becoming. I guess it's like building up to what is the
one thing I do want to say though. So when he's clicking on the boss, if a boss has multiple phases, and in each phase, if they have a different ability set, I would like the ability to toggle between each ability set. So I'll use Fafnir as an example. He had 2 phases in the alpha. And I was playing and I saw Fafnir heal. I was like, oh, why did he heal? So I started clicking on all of his abilities and reading them, and none of them explained what would cause him to heal. My assumption is it's because he went into a new phase and got a new set of abilities. I don't know, like, but by the time the heal had happened, I couldn't go back and read what it was that caused him to heal. So in the moment, in the fight, I couldn't make that mental adjustment not to do the thing anymore because I didn't know what I did to make it happen, if that makes sense. Yeah, Sakib, that's a good point, and I'm the same way too. But that's how I learned what they did in Raid. Like, Raid, one thing they did really well was Raid's tutorial wasn't a tutorial, it was the campaign. They would slowly introduce you to new buffs and debuffs. Like, I remember when I was playing through and I encountered Unkillable for the first time. It was stage 4 of the campaign, I think. And you fight Gnarlhorns and Man-Eaters. And you're like, why isn't this guy dying? What is that debuff? All these people who aren't dying all have the same debuff. So you hit the info button and it says right there, unkillable. You go, oh, it's unkillable. That's why I can't kill them. And then you learn, right? This is doing the same thing, but it's giving you more information. So This is like 100 times better. But what I'm saying is it's good that they have it so people can have that aha moment. And then you go into the next campaign stage and they give you another debuff to learn, or buff or debuff to learn. Like when you have to fight Skullcrusher for the first time, it's like, wow, every time I attack, I'm getting counterattacked. Oh, that must be what that sword buff means with the 2 swords like this. Because every time I attack someone who has that buff, I get counterattacked. And then you see the unkillable that Skullcrusher puts on himself. And you remember from the last stage of campaign that, you know, it's like they're slowly introducing you to more buffs and debuffs. And that's their tutorial doubles as, or sorry, their campaign doubles as a tutorial. It's a really efficient, smart way to do it.
Different abilities I need to deal with. It's all now becoming, I guess it's like building up to what is the player experience feeling like. And that's really now where myself, Sham, Paul, Dirk, you know, Brad, a whole bunch of the team with literally thousands of hours in this style of game. This is where we now come in and go back to the devs and say, look, something's not feeling right, or actually it's feeling great. And we had really good feedback on the arena video last week that our team feel like too compact. And we looked at it, we were like, yeah, you're totally right, which is one of the reasons why we made this change, because I can now move.
That was something that didn't occur to me, but now that he's mentioning it, thinking back to it, I definitely agree.
Move Drac out to the right, I can move Aphrodite out to the left, and I've still got plenty of space to be able to sort of fit this team in and get a good experience for the player. And that's ultimately, obviously, what we're looking to do. So, yeah, I thought that would just be like a really interesting, like, I guess almost like live showcase of the stuff that we're working on right now. Yeah, and let you know that, you know, that feedback that we get from you, that is so important to us to have this community that are constantly giving us a feedback, helping us improve the game as we move towards that early access launch. So that's going to be it from me. Short one, but hopefully informative. I will see you in the next video.
All right, that was not too bad. We reacted to a 10-minute video in 20 minutes, playing it on 1.5 speed. All right. So that's, I think I got, so great video, awesome stuff, but it raised some questions. What are rifts? How do we access them? And what are the rift keys? And how do we get those? Thank you, Susie. Okay, I am going to take it off double speed or whatever, because I haven't seen this one yet. I'm going in blind to this one.
Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Fateless podcast episode. Joining me, we have got Yuho, Isabella, and Garrett. So Yuho, I know you've been here you know, a few times by now, and I'll kind of let you start things off. But in this one, we're going to be talking about some of the stuff involved with QA and testing. And first, we're just going to kind of let you all introduce yourselves quick. So I'll start with you, Yuho.
Hey guys, I'm Juho, also known as Cramps or Crouching Grandpa from Discord. I started as a community manager, then I don't know if it's a promotion or I just got shifted around a little, and I've been working QA for like, I want to say 6 months, I think, maybe a bit longer. And honestly, it's been a blast. Like, the people I work with are super awesome and doing well so far.
Yeah, thanks, man. And then Isabella.
Hello, you guys. Well, I'm Isabella. I've been working as a QA in the Godforge project, I think, since 2023, the last few months. I started just to catch a few bugs here and there, and then just continued in the project because it's super awesome.
It's crazy. She's been on since 2023, and this is the first time we're hearing from her. That's awesome.
Awesome. Thanks. And then
well, it's crazy that we haven't heard from her sooner. Yes, but it's wow. I had no idea.
Garrett.
Yes, I'm Garrett. I started in the Godforge project about at the beginning of 2025, though I've got several years of QA experience beforehand with a bunch of other games. Mainly started just to catch bugs and validate the work of a couple engineers.
Magic Media.
There you
okay,
go.
cool.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks for joining us to talk about some of the stuff involved with testing Godforge and everything that's going on. So, Yuho, I'll pass it to you. Did you have you know, something to kind of kick us off here and a hot topic to start with on the QA process or things people would be curious about?
So funny story. Okay, this has nothing to do with anything. But so Brad's got the Godforge.gg trailer playing in the background. I didn't realize that was the trailer from the website. I thought he was in the game and he was like letting his runs play on auto, like farming while he was testing stuff in the background. So every time I would watch a Fateless podcast, I would lock in on this looking for leaks, but it's literally just Godforge.gg playing in the background. That's my story.
Yeah, being Fateless and Godforge, I think our number one asset and number one strength is still community, and it's just insane how much things players catch and how much players report and how much they care. And being involved in the QA process, we get like, I want to say about 2,000 tickets in total per alpha phase, and going through those is a lot, and it's just insane how much.
I'm gonna make a prediction. So they're talking about the most reported bugs. I'm gonna guess what's his name? Tristane, pink square, fuchsia square bug was the most reported between the two alpha waves. And if I think of another good guess, I'll throw that in too.
Players find that we don't catch, and I like the saying that no amount of QA can match the combined strength of 10,000 nerds, and it just goes to show itself every single time, and it holds true, and it's so cool to see that the players actually care and player give really good quality reports as well.
Yeah, thanks. And can you walk people through maybe what that was like in alpha testing? So during the waves, a player would notice a weird interaction or a bug or something crazy that shouldn't be happening. Then they would submit a ticket on Discord, and then does that go somewhere in the Fateless Discord, and then you kind of navigate that task out to people? What is the QA process for someone who's not familiar with testing games?
So on the first round with Alpha, we had Discord tickets, and we really quickly realized that it wasn't the play. It became way too difficult to sort through the tickets and find duplicates, because a lot of things are duplicates. Like everybody who played Alpha knows Pink Tristane, and we must have had at least 100 reports that Tristane is summoning this pink wall, and it became really apparent that people are super keen in reporting those issues. And later on, we migrated into a service desk that's a lot easier for us to navigate, and it's really easy for players as well. They just click a button, put a bug title, any attachment they have, and then later on we can sort through those tickets and search for something like Pink Tristane. Okay, there's 80 reports, but we only need to process it once.
Yeah, for sure. And then what for like early access, and the next time people that can play Godforge, how has that system evolved, and what can players expect that to be? And maybe like, what is the expected timeline? There's something like, an ultimate not working correctly. Is that going to be a day, a week, a month? Does it depend on the bug? Obviously, some are way more complicated than others. If one of you could kind of expand on that a little bit, maybe.
This is actually really interesting.
So the way that ends up typically working is it's based upon the severity of the bug itself. A good example would be we had what the community referred to as Immortal God King Hercules, which was a bug with Hercules as passive.
Okay, that is one that I experienced, but it wasn't affecting me that much because I was just using so much crowd control. It didn't matter. Like, he never really got to it. I just killed him and then crowd controlled him and killed him and crowd controlled him and killed him. So I think the most annoying bug, in my opinion, was the ISIS healing everyone at the start of every turn in battle rather than just at the start of her turn. That was the one that was the most painful for me to deal with.
Where he would die, revive himself, die, revive himself. Every single time you killed him, he would revive himself. And it became borderline impossible to kill him. Unfortunately, as he was a boss on a level at the time, this caused, or he was a minion of a boss during one of the boss levels at the time. This caused it to make it borderline impossible to complete that stage unless you eliminated everyone else first and then him. So it facilitated having to that was a faster fix, simply due to it blocking a massive amount of people. Meanwhile, something like Pink Tristan, as a good example, while it was not exactly awesome and a little frustrating to have pink blobs appear every time you used his ultimate, it didn't impact gameplay and it didn't block anybody from anything, so that one was allowed to wait a couple weeks.
It's like a triage in the emergency room. Like, how severe is this? Is it something that's ruining the experience for everybody? If yes, fix it right away. If you got a hangnail, like, you'll be fine. This guy over here is dying. We need to give him a new heart or whatever.
Meanwhile, God King Hercules was taken out within a few days.
Yeah, so and for anybody who wasn't there for Alpha, Hercules has a passive that will basically prevent his death and then revive him to full HP. It's supposed to have, I believe, like a 3 or 4 turn cooldown. But what you're saying is that cooldown wasn't occurring properly and he was just reviving every death. So yeah, there's going to be some that are just visual and there's going to be some that literally break the game. And so you as a QA team, you're having to kind of sort through these thousands of tickets and almost like rank them, right? Like this is the most important, and then this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, and then kind of go from there and distributing the workflow of repairing it, right?
Yep. Yeah, a
Yeah,
good example of like a 1 would be something that completely blocks all access to the game.
just basically we have the severity, which is what us as QA see the issue, and we think, okay, this affects the game in a certain level, in a certain degree, and we select the proper severity that we think, considering mostly our own experience with the game and other experiences with other games. And once the bug is created, it goes through a triage, and in this triage,
That's what I
it's
said.
selected the
Triage.
priority depending on which is the goal for that sprint. So not all of the time a bug that has a high severity is going to be high priority as well. It depends on the sprint. It depends on what is the focus of that week, which are the functionalities that we're working on that week and that we want to finish during that week. So sometimes we could have a bug that has a high severity that is going to be only fixed in the next week because of the focus of that sprint.
Cool. Okay. And there might be people listening who would love to be a QA tester or love to get into the video game industry and dip their toe in those waters at some point. What is like the typical workday, work week of a QA tester? Somewhere like Godforge. Is there a goal in mind team wide? Like, hey, we're gonna dive into this area of the campaign and we're gonna slam this with and try to see if we can figure out something, or do you just play the game in general and kind of report what you're finding? Yuho, could you maybe walk through what someone could expect on like a normal workday, work week of what's expected of you over the course of like 30 or 40 hours?
So yeah, usually we have a set amount of tasks every day. We gather certain logs from the game, like is this area working, is this area working, and we always do a quick playthrough, like every single major area. Does everything work? Does anything have like really major bugs that needs to be addressed right now? We pass those on, and then we have, I want to say, between 3 and 5 topics every single week that we work towards. Like this week we have weapons, ascension dungeons, we have hero validation, and there's a couple extra as well. And we always try to get to those tasks as well. But also QA life is kind of fun in the way that there's always something coming up every single day. Every single day is a bit new.
But what about the rift keys?
There's always something breaking or something weird happening or something that needs investigating then and there. And that's really what makes QA fun. Like, I think every single person who works in QA enjoys those things the most, that just sort of come out of the blue and require a lot of focus then and there. And then it becomes like this investigative secret police process where you just try to find the issue at hand and try to do it fast.
Awesome. And then, any of you could speak on this, but yeah, what are some of the skills? Like, if somebody did want to be part of QA or did want to get into that industry, what are some things you've learned where, from the beginning, it's like, okay, this skill would have been very important. Is there certain programs they should know or certain abilities they should have with Excel or spreadsheeting or certain things that help, or is it just experience, testing games and breaking them? Is there anything that would be a specific skill someone should really hone in on to help them kind of in the QA industry?
Actually, all of those are great skills to have. Spreadsheet abilities are very useful for planning different types of test cases. Meanwhile, being able to hunt down and find bugs is kind of the bread and butter of the position itself. That's why I always encourage anyone looking into getting into QA to look into speed running. There's a lot of overlapping skills in that hobby that apply to QA that are very beneficial. But yeah, basically learning how to properly use Excel to make test plans, test cases, and mark them down, knowing how to operate, at the very least, OBS for visual reproduction media, just getting visual reproductions. And
So for you guys who don't know, OBS is what like 99% of streamers and content creators use to record things. This is OBS right here. Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry. It stands for Open Broadcasting System, and it's like an open source free tool that's just amazing for content creators to stream and make YouTube videos. It's pretty awesome.
Just having a good grasp of your basic Office suite is also very useful for writing up any form of documentation. There's a lot more documentation in the job than most people would ever realize.
I've
Yeah.
learned that from the design side as well. Go ahead, Isabella.
No, just saying. I think that one of the soft skills that someone would have to have is patience, because we go through the same area of the game a lot of times, and it's so different from just playing, just having fun around. Testing, we're actually just focusing on that specific functionality, and we need to look at with different eyes. It's not just, oh, I'm playing this game and I'm having fun, and I beat this boss and this is cool. We need to check all of the little things, the little details.
I think I would be a horrible QA tester. I have attention deficit disorder. I get distracted super easily. I'd be like, all right, I got to go in and like do this thing. I got to check for this thing. And I would probably get distracted and get caught up in having fun playing the game that I would forget to do the thing. I would be horrible at it.
That functionality, and we need to do it a lot of times. It's not just once, it's not just twice. So I'd say patience is a very important soft skill.
I think we should focus, Susie, on community engagement. That's where I shine.
And also you need to be very organized, because like the other said already, we're doing a lot of things at the same time, and we need to be very organized so things don't get confused with a lot of
I'm horrible at multitasking too. I would be awful at QA.
documentation, a lot of testing. So I'd say, in my experience, these two skills are very, very important.
Awesome.
I would say for me, the most important skill that I have is that I'm able to learn new things by myself. Like I can identify that, hey, this is something I need to know, and this is how I'm going to learn it. For example, if my Android game is crashing for some reason, I can teach myself how to find those logs why the game is crashing and how can I make it crash again. And there isn't necessarily anybody holding your hand. It's just something you need to be able to figure out. And it's relatively simple, but also you need to have that mindset that this is something that I need to figure out myself, and this is how I can do it. And this is also worth my time. Because time is a key asset as for every single role in game development. If you waste a lot of time in something that isn't really worth your time, then that's also as bad as anything else.
Awesome. And something people might be curious about is, as we move forward, prepping for early access and trying to get the game out to players' hands, how much better in terms of like, optimization and being smooth and having things fixed, how much better, I don't know if it's something you can speak on from your end, but how much better can people expect that experience?
Did you see her coffee cup? That was actually really
Much better. I don't know if it's something you can
Rainbow unicorn. I like that. Maybe it's a teacup. I don't know.
Speak on from your end, but how much better can people expect that experience to be in early access compared to alpha? And like, are you confident at the rate we're able to kind of identify things and then knock it down and fix it and move on to the next thing? Are those two topics kind of going well so far in your mind?
Okay, this is actually a really important thing to remember, and I'm glad they brought it up, because optimization is something that takes time and it's constantly being worked on. Like even like AAA games, like when Baldur's Gate 3 came out, they released a new optimization patch like a month after the game came out to make it run better on a wider variety of graphics cards for people's computers. So like if you didn't have a great like top of the line graphics card when it first came out, if you got to Act 3, you probably would have had some troubles. But over time, they just continually update new optimization patches. So if you played in the alpha and your phone wasn't able to run Godforge, or it wasn't able to run it well, that's what optimization means. They're working on making it run better on more devices. Like, so that this is that topic. So if that was a trouble or a concern you had, pay attention.
I would say that they are going really well. There is still work to be done, and there's people actively working on those areas right now. For example, when the game launched, I had a lot of difficulties playing it on my mobile phone. But right now, there's no issues. Sure, the FPS could be a lot better. There could be some performance changes in certain animations, things like that. But it's not crashing on my mobile. I can play it for a couple hours easily, and the game
Or if running the game made your phone really hot. These are things that the optimization process will fix.
isn't gonna stall. It's not gonna do anything weird. So there's definitely been a lot of improvements, and as the development cycle goes on, we will also keep improving all the time. So it's just going to get better and better and better, and over time we will be able to support more devices as well.
Sorry, Joey B, full steam ahead. If it was just you and me hanging out, I would absolutely rewind, but
Cool. And did either one of you have anything to add on that in terms of how the workflow is going right now and kind of how fast things are moving and how much better people can expect it to be for early access compared to alpha?
Oh, yeah. You have pretty much covered everything involving how we've got plenty of people working in the background to get it all through. I would say people should definitely expect it to be a lot better than it was during alpha. As a good example, the ability to summon is back in, so you're no longer getting your heroes via completing combat. You are now able to get them via the intended summoning system using the aptly named Godforge. We've had
okay,
the
I'm going to rewind it because I was reading chat and I missed what he said about the Godforge. I just heard the pun and then it made me laugh.
are now able to get them via the intended summoning system using the aptly named Godforge. We've had the addition of multiple new areas for people to play in, so I would personally say that it's going to be quite a bit different than what people experienced during alpha.
A whole new
Yeah,
In a
and
good way.
mostly I think and mostly I think that the battles are going to be way better, and people are going to have a lot of fun playing the battles, because now we're trying to get to that point where you're going through the battles and it's not too difficult, but it's not too easy. So there's that challenge that people like, and also it's not impossible for you to pass from one stage to another. That it's kind of frustrating. So we're trying to balance that, and I think people are going to have a lot more fun playing that.
Awesome. Has there been anything that people would have recognized from alpha?
While she's talking about balancing the difficulty curve, I do want to give some thoughts. I thought the difficulty curve for the Godforge Alpha was actually really good, with one minor, I don't want to say complaint, but issue. So it seemed as though you had to crowd control them, or kill them before they could attack you back, because if they clapped back, you would die. Unless you had a team full of brawlers and defenders with Isolde imprints to get passive healing constantly. So if you didn't have good brawlers and defenders and plenty of extra Isoldes lying around to imprint onto the weapons, you had to do a crowd control strategy, or you had to have damage dealers with good enough gear to one-shot the waves. There was not 142. Yeah, I'd say that's a major complaint. But there was no real sense of like slugging it out, right? Like when you play Raid's campaign for the first time, you attack and then they attack you, you attack them, they attack you, and then you kill them. Or if you don't, then they kill you. Like there's a little bit of back and forth. It's not just like instantly clap them or they instantly clap you. I think that's something that could be adjusted, and I'm hoping that they do. So it feels more like a game of chess where you're taking turns and implementing strategy rather than just steamroll it or get steamrolled. So we'll see. And I feel like I heard Sham say something about this in a podcast or a video or something, or maybe I saw him typing in the Discord. I can vaguely recall Sham talking on this issue at one point. So I'm sure they're aware of it. It's just something I wanted to get out there.
that was like, wow, this was really hard for us to fix. This was really hard for us to pin down and get right. And it was constantly coming up in testing. Was there anything like that that people maybe would have recognized?
There was an issue during the third wave of alpha in which people were not getting their heroes or reward drops until after they had restarted the game or they'd gotten another set of reward drops. People would probably recognize that very quickly because on your first battle, you weren't getting anything. Now you are.
Yeah. And I remember something, from playing in the alpha. It seemed like the longer I played, there was like memory leaks, and it would kind of like slow down over the course of time if I had the game up for 10 hours. So you'd have to, if you were
Yeah.
gonna like farm for a long time, AFK, you'd want to put it on like 1x. So that way that would mitigate how laggy it's gonna get, and then like restart it your next play session. Can people expect stuff like that to be alleviated a little bit? Was that something you were all noticing during testing or anything like that?
Yes, we have.
Definitely. Yeah, we have been testing that a
I think it's cool that they're putting the quality assurance folks under the spotlight. I feel like they're QA is like the unsung heroes of every game development.
lot. Mostly because in all alphas we had a lot of players complaining about the game crashing or black screens or memory leaks, and we tried to pinpoint all of those issues, and we're testing that a lot so that players can enjoy playing a long time and farming and doing all of that without any crashes, any blockers. So we're testing that a lot.
Yeah, nice. Go ahead, Yuho. Is there anything else I'm not thinking of that maybe people should be excited because it's been noticed? Not just the memory leaks, but is there anything I'm kind of like not remembering that would be a lot better?
I would say overall the animations look a lot better, the heroes look a lot better. There's going to be a lot more environments to look at. It's not going to be just the same cavern stage over and over and over. There's going to be campaign, there's going to be dungeons, there's going to be bosses. There's a lot of things to look forward to for sure. And it's kind of funny actually coming back to the memory thing. Like usually in game development, the expectation is that player plays like in a linear path where they are doing quest after quest after quest. And if there's somebody coming into this genre from like AAA games or MMOs, and you explain to them like, we need the system to be so robust that a player can repeat this stage for 20 hours on repeat and never stop. And it's always the same response, like why would player ever do that? That's terrible. But that's just the nature of gacha gaming and mobile games in general. Like you do the same task over and over and over.
Speaking of doing the same thing over and over, apparently in the alpha, I was making my food way too fast, and I like maxed out the amount of server queues I could make, and a bunch of my food just disappeared. So one day when I was streaming, it was like the next day, Crouching Grandpa actually jumped into my live stream, and he was trying to help me, like, is asking me questions about it so he could like look for the solution, like look for what caused the problem. So great QA team. They're like superheroes undercover.
Yeah. Well, and also there is a lot of changing to it. Like if I run pits in Diablo 4 or I run rifts in Diablo 3, the stage is changing every time. Even though I'm doing the same task, it's different enemies and there's randomization and there's going back to town to sell gear and like screens shift. Whereas in our game, you're running the dungeon over and over and over. So and kind of grinding it out. So you're right. It is a little bit different, and I'm sure it presents different challenges in terms of memory leak. Is that true? Like, is it a little bit tougher to kind of fix that and prevent that in a game like Godforge compared to, like you said, maybe an MMO or an ARPG where you're running around doing different tasks and stuff like that?
I would expect it to be a bit harder. I'm not a game dev myself, but the way that system is constantly disposing of and creating new instances of the same map, it might get a little bit confusing because you aren't moving to other areas where the system clearly knows that, hey, this is a new thing you're doing. And like it just has to be so robust that you can do it forever, basically.
Awesome. And then for early access, the next time people are able to play the game, if they do notice something, what's going to be the steps that we have in place as the new kind of workflow? And let's say somebody watching this and they're like, oh, I'd love to help, the next time I'm playing Godforge during early access. should they be in the Discord doing something or pursuing getting a certain role in Discord, or what would be the steps for someone that wants to help and be involved?
Discord is definitely the main place to be. If for nothing else, it's the place you will always get the most up-to-date information on anything you want to know.
Check the pins.
There's a lot of moderators, there's a lot of community managers that will answer any question you have, or almost any question. And it's likely with bugs and communication between QA and players, it's likely going to be quite similar to Alpha 3, where you would submit a bug report through a service desk. I'm not sure if there's going to be any drastic changes, especially when it comes to the player-facing interface. There might be some on the back end.
Now, I can't make any promises, Joy B, because I'm not on the team and I can't see what they're doing. But I imagine as long as you have a somewhat new device, you should be able. I'm. Last time I said I was coached on how to answer this question. I want to make sure I don't. It's their goal to make the game playable on a wider variety of devices. So as long as you're not playing on like something super ancient, I imagine you should be okay, at least for early access. And I'm sure they're going to continue working until like full launch or whatever, continuing to optimize for a wider variety of devices. Ooh, cool. Was your your new device not compatible with the alpha?
But players will never notice those. It's just something that we will change in our own internal processes to make it a bit easier for us.
Awesome. Well, I don't want to just fire my questions at all of you. You all would know more than I do about.
So when you say you couldn't farm, does that mean like did your device like overheat? I feel like I recall you talking about like overheating. Was that the issue?
QA, is there anything that would be interesting to discuss that I'm not asking about or I'm not kind of portraying from your perspectives that you think would make a good topic?
I think it's a good topic how QA needs to be defined.
That's overheating. That's definitely something that gets fixed with optimization. Like it makes the device or the game run more efficiently on the device, so it uses less resources and therefore it won't get as hot. So yeah, if you had overheating issues, a lot of that should be alleviated with the more optimization they do on the game. I'm not like an expert. I've never worked in game design, but just from my time being on the internet, that's what I understand about it.
No barrier for anything that gets into the game. If anything looks bad, feels bad, doesn't work well, you have to like be brave, and even to your highest bosses you have at any job you'll ever have, you have to be brave and say like, hey, this is bad, this can't go in, we have to do this and this. And if you are lucky like we are, the bosses listen. Like we have awesome people leading the team, leading the company, and if I go DM Simon that, hey, this is actually pretty bad, we need to fix it, he's going to be, okay, let's fix it. And like there's really this open and honest communication between QA and the leadership, for sure.
That's awesome.
You mean I'll design like the abilities for a hero and you'll get the hero and you'll be like, what has Brad done? Like, this is not going to work. This is a crazy ability. We can't do this. Send him back to the drawing board. Like, has that something like that ever happened? Or do you remember kind of
He knows exactly what he's asking, and I'm really excited to hear. Okay, actually, I don't know. Okay, I have a prediction about what you can tell by the shit-eating grin on his face that he knows exactly what he's he's setting him up. Okay. The last time I was on the Fateless podcast talking to Dirk, Simon, and Brad, we were talking about buffs, debuffs, and disables. In that conversation, at one point, Dirk mentioned that when I asked about the polymorph or the transform disable, he mentioned that they are looking into designing heroes who, when under the transform disable, gain additional powers. They get stronger. Like they want to be under this buff and they kind of place it on themselves. My assumption is that was Brad's idea. Just look at that mischievous face. He knows exactly what he's doing here. So I'm assuming That's what he's talking about and setting Yuho up for. I'm really anxious to see if that is in fact what it was.
Instance like that.
Yeah, I can remember a really good instance
He's trying so hard not to smile. Like he knows exactly what he did.
of that. A great combo would be the divinity generators for Anubis and Hercules when combined together. You can effectively get infinite there was a point where you could get infinite ultimates because they both have a habit of recharging each other's.
And now Brad looks disappointed because they didn't mention the thing that he was queuing them up for.
Attack ultimates almost near instantaneous, or for a while with Odin's original passive, which anytime he killed an enemy he'd get an additional turn. This allowed him to do what I called rotary phone Odin, where he would get so many turns back to back when combined with most other any hero that was specialized in damage dealing, that it would cause Odin to get so many turns back to back that he would sit there and move like a rotary phone, and then that would immediately charge up the ultimates for any other hero. So you would never allow the enemies a turn, ever.
Yeah, we did have a lot of divinity ultimate type issues and infinite divinity teams, and those systems were really broken a lot during Alpha 1 and Alpha 2, and the generators and us trying to have a different way instead of like usually these games boil down to just build speed, just go as fast as you can, and we're trying to introduce a system of ultimates where there's a different mechanic involved with how powerful your turn cycle.
I think in order to truly achieve that, if they really want it to work that way, I believe, and this is my personal belief, that they would have to make it so that when a character in battle has their ultimate, they can cut in and take their turn regardless of if it's my turn or yours. This is especially true for real-time PvP. Sorry, PvP. But I think it should work in PvE as well. And this is something I've mentioned and gave that feedback a long time ago. And I know Simon saw it because we entered a conversation about it. But if speed is still the only deciding factor that determines which team goes first, you could, in theory, build one hero really fast, so you get your turn first, and then your nuker with high initiative, so they get their ultimate, and you could use your nuker's ultimate before you even do your turn meter booster's turn. So you ult first, then you do your turn meter boost, and then you use the core ability and just double nuke them down. So it's still going to come down to speed. I guess the argument could be made if initiative and divinity allowed you to cut in, you could just go full divinity. But at least at that point, you have a choice. Do I want speed or do I want divinity? Which one do I want to focus on? But if divinity doesn't allow you to cut in, it's always going to be speed. That's how I feel about it.
And that has presented a lot of challenges for sure in the different waves of alpha. And I think the Anubis one and the Hercules one, that was based on like they had a generator where they would get divinity on killing an enemy, right? And so then an enemy dies and they both get ultimate and they both just keep cycling.
Yep. And Odin had one that would generate him whenever he stole turn meter, which unfortunately was happening with his basic attack as well. So Odin was also charging himself with every attack.
Yeah, nice. And what about you, Isabella? Is there anything that I haven't asked that you think would be interesting to make sure people know or share or discuss?
I think that Yuho touched a very nice subject here, because QA is really the last barrier between the game and the launch of the game, the development of the game and the launch of the game. Because we're receiving lots of new implementations every day, and we're testing all of it, and there's so much to test, and sometimes you need to just be brave and speak up and say, okay, this is
I just realized a flaw in my assertion that I just made. My assertion. If they made it so that divinity, like when your ultimate is ready, you could cut in, they would have to implement some sort of pass feature. So when it's the other team's turn, if your Ultimate gets ready, you would cut in. But if you don't want to use it, there would have to be an ability to pass, and that kind of complicates things. Now that I think about it, so I don't know. Maybe that won't work.
It's not nice. It's not cool, and it's difficult. I think for someone that's new on the QA area, because there's always that little you're scared of saying things, and you think, well, maybe I'm just thinking it wrong. Maybe I'm not seeing the game correctly. Maybe I'm wrong. But the great thing about this team is that
Joy, I don't. That's just me being crazy. I realize the flaw in my own plan, so I just realized that won't work. And if you get confused, just hit auto and let it go.
we talk a lot, not only QA, but
like you don't have to understand every detail in the game to be able to play it and enjoy it. Like, I'm sure like millions of people play Raid. I would be shocked if more than like 1% actually understood how turn meter mechanics worked. But regardless of not understanding how the minutia of turn meter mechanics, people can still play and enjoy the game. Like, you don't have to know everything to engage with it. It's just, at what level do you wish to engage with it? Like, are you trying to be a nerd like me and get into the nitty gritty of the coding and turn meter ticks and divinity ticks and all that, or do you just want to turn off your brain and hit auto? You know, like,
between other teams. So when we have any questions, when we're starting to think, okay, maybe this is not fun for the player, we can just speak.
So Susie, okay, talking about Reverse 1999, you kind of turned me onto that game, and I played it for about 3 days, which is rare. It's usually rare that I play a game for more than a few hours when I try it for the first time. So the fact that I played it for 3 days is a testament to the quality of that game. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it. However, when I started reading their skills, the way that they're worded, like, because I'm the type of person who does like to deep dive and figure things out. And when I was reading their skills, I had zero context to what any of it meant, and I would get confused. And they worded everything so strangely that it was really unintuitive. I don't know if it was a poor translation or what, but I got to a point where, like, I was like, man, I don't know what any of this means. I don't understand the context of these words. Hey, what's up, Ragewood? And that's kind of when I started to lose interest. It's like, it's not that it was too complicated, because I'm sure if I had taken the time to reach out to someone and have them explain it to me, I could have understood it. I could have understood it. It's the fact that I wasn't able to intuit it on my own, and I could really feel like there's too much I didn't know about the game, and I didn't feel like the game did a good enough job of explaining to me what I was missing. Unlike when we saw the last video, the new info screen that they put in, like, it gives you all the information you could ever want or need. So big plus for that.
And people will listen to us and we'll discuss, and not every time will be correct. Not every time the things will be changed. The functionality will be changed. But just having that conversation is what makes the game better, and what makes this team really nice to work with. Because, man, we talk a lot. we talk a lot about every functionality. You should see the QA channel in Discord. Oh, we talk every minute, every day. We're just sending lots of messages and sending a lot of fun bugs. We have some really funny bugs that we wish we could show you guys. Like some
There's an idea for a future Fateless video, Susie. If you're taking notes, show off some of the funny bugs from the QA chat.
characters just making some weird animations, like they're dancing. Some characters they're missing their pants. So those bugs are really fun to watch.
Yeah, amazing. And so do you have like a daily meeting where you all meet up for 30 minutes and be like, I'm working on this, this is what I'm noticing? Or is it more of like a weekly thing where you all just kind of distribute the tasks and then we meet up on Friday and kind of discuss how the week went? How does that workflow typically go kind of within testing Godforge, and in terms of like people meeting up and discussing things face to face and syncing and all that?
meeting we have every Monday, right, guys? I think every
I think they did something like that during the alpha, where Simon was showing clips of like fun, like he showed where like the two horses were attacking each other, like stuff like that. Like, yeah, that would be really funny. I think people would like seeing that because that's not really the type of thing that game companies show. So yeah, I don't know. I think it'd be really cool, and I think it'd be right in line with like Fateless's like transparency vibe, community first, like, you know, most like craziest bugs, or I don't know. I think it'd be a really funny video.
Monday, so it's weekly.
Also seeing Simon's reaction to them as he's showing them, like giggling. I don't know. I just think it'd be fun.
But whenever we feel like we need to discuss something that is more urgent, we can always create a meeting or go through Discord and talk through there. But like I said, we're always sending messages, so we're always in touch with each other. But to discuss what we're gonna do, what we did, and check if everyone is on the same page, we usually go through the weekly that is on Monday.
Cool.
And on a
Okay.
daily basis, we do have a small stand-up thread that we do use to communicate to each other, but that's just a small textual thread, not anything meeting-like.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm terrible at filling my stand-up. I should do it. I've probably filled it 3 weeks ago last time. I feel like I talk so much that everybody always knows what I am up to without sending anything extra.
That's funny. I'm same way you. I can relate. I got to remember to pipe down and be quiet for a little bit every now and then. But so one thing we do like to ask as we kind of get closer to the time when we're wrapping up, when people are on the channel for the first time, is a hero that the public doesn't, like not Zeus, like not a hero that the public knows is in Godforge. Do you have a favorite hero from mythology that you, if it was up to you, if you were one of the founders, you would be like, I would have this hero in Godforge
Sasquatch.
because it's just
Boy,
such a cool, such a cool myth or legend or anything. Isabella, do you have a favorite?
Oh, that is not
lore?
in Godforge?
Yeah, one like
I
not like
was think-
Zeus or Athena, not one that people know about in Godforge. Is there one that is not in Godforge that you're like, if it was up to me, I would put this one in?
Well, since I'm from Brazil, so we have a lot of different stories here and folklore and things like that. And I was even talking to the guys, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, about some of the folklore that we have here. And I definitely tell them to add the Curupira, which is like a guardian of the forest here. And he has fire hair and his feet are backwards and he's very strong. He's a very nice character and I would really like to see him there.
Okay, yeah, awesome. And then how about you, Garrett? Do you have one that pops out and comes to mind?
I did until recently, and then I found out they're actually going to be in Godforge, so I had to kind of change that a bit on the fly.
Well, don't leak that one if it's not
Yeah,
a public
yeah,
one.
I'm not
yet.
looking at that one. If I had to choose one that isn't planned, and at least I don't think is planned because I don't think their pantheon is included, I'd go with Turok, the son of stone, from Native American mythology. Monster slayer, hero, borderline invincible.
You know who else is from Native American mythology that would be really cool? Bigfoot.
Now I thought I remember games as a kid. Was there games called Turok?
Yeah, they were
Okay.
loosely based on the mythology behind that character.
Yeah, if I remember right, it was like a dinosaur hunting game or something. I'm trying to think back of when I
It's
was like
Nintendo
10 years old
64.
or whatever. But
Yeah.
Yeah, the games were based in like a fictional fantasy universe based around dinosaur hunting and stuff. The actual mythological character, he's just he was a Native American brave who did a lot of stuff. Killed several monsters.
Yeah, great answers. Love it. And Yuho, we've let you share yours before, right? Haven't we?
I think so, but now that I think about it, we don't really have like ghosts or wraiths or anything like that. I would like to see some sort of like wraiths in our game. Like
I think there's a banshee, but it's not like a ghost. It's got like a humanoid form. That's interesting. Yeah, they could. They they could have like, because every region has their own Bigfoot mythology, right? Like in the United States and Canada, it's Sasquatch. In like what's it called? I watched so many Bigfoot documentaries. What is that place called? Where the Mount Everest is, whatever region that is, it's the Yeti. And then in Australia they have the Yowie. In like Malaysia they have like the Orang Pendek, which is like a much shorter version of it.
They don't have to be human shaped, even like some sort of like weird flowing creature. Like that would be really cool to see.
We have one that I would
Himalayas, yes, thank you. It's Tibetan to Nepal. Yeah. Thank you, Ridgewood.
shout out that comes off the top of my head
I've seen every episode of Monster Quest. I'm just throwing that out there.
as possibly. I have to tell you off camera because I don't know if we've leaked this yet, but it's actually one of my favorite heroes in the game. And someday I'll tell all of you. I think we knocked it out of the park with this hero. I think maybe Simon did show it in a video, but that's the tough part. When you have hundreds of heroes, I don't want to get fired. I don't remember like off the top of my head everything that has been shown and hasn't. That's what makes it tough.
I used to upkeep this list of.
There was a point in time where you can just check ragewoodgaming.com, but unfortunately that site is no longer with us.
Heroes that we've shown, and there's so many that I just sort of gave up and try to be a bit more quiet instead. It's a lot easier to not say anything than try to pick your words carefully.
Yeah, it is funny being on that side of it. Well, hey, this has been awesome to kind of learn about the QA process, and gonna be a busy time for all of you coming up when early access finally gets into players' hands again, and it's gonna be bug reports flying in, and we appreciate all the work all of you are doing to help us really improve the game from alpha to early access. So thanks for taking the time to join me. And if you want to be involved with chatting Godforge or testing or reporting bugs or just kind of following what's going on in general, we'll have the link down below to Discord where we're super active in there updating you, and you can be involved with playing and testing and all.
So Ragewood makes a good point. He says, in fact, all community resources are outdated now, sadly, and that's a big reason why I didn't make champion guides in the alpha, because I knew it was highly likely that their kits change from alpha to launch or early access, which is why the only guide I really made was a gearing guide, because I felt it was I asked Simon before I made the guide. I was like, hey, how likely are you guys to change how gear works? And he says, we're pretty comfortable with where it's at. So I was like, cool. So I put in the effort to make a really good gearing guide. And then I feel like on one of the podcasts or Fateless videos following it a couple weeks, they talked about how they might look at gearing again. I was like, oh no. I'm gonna have to remake that video, but it's cool. Do what's best for the game. I'll adapt. But yeah, I didn't want to make a ton of resources that would like. I like to make videos that are like evergreen and like always relevant. But yeah, that's cool. Ooh, Susie says we might have some fun things for CCs coming up involving those changes. Interesting. Yeah, I was very careful to make sure that I say, if nothing from the alpha changes, then this. So if things change, I will definitely take that video down and release a more updated guide. But I think that's all we got. There's one more thing. Okay, don't go anywhere, especially if you are a YouTube member. I've been making some more emotes, and I only have so many emote slots for YouTube members. So I want to, I'll probably do a, can I zoom in? No, they don't. Oh, they do get a little bigger. I'll probably do like a members only poll, but I recently added this one. And then let's look at which ones we have. So we've got Adam Shocked. I'll probably get rid of this angry one because I don't feel like it ever gets used and I don't use it. But so if I want to add Hi, because I feel like this is one that people could use when the stream starts. So I don't know. I'll do a members only poll on the channel and get your guys' feedback. But I'll have you guys vote for which one should come down. My assumption is it's probably going to be this one that doesn't get used that much. But we'll see. I'll leave it up to you guys. And then once we know which ones comes down, we can do like, would you rather have, thumbs up isn't on there. Maybe we take down, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll do like a series of polls and like narrow it down and see what you guys think. But I'll start working on that. My mouse is messed up. I can't click and drag. Yeah, so we have that to look forward to if you're a channel member. And even if you're not a channel member and you like seeing the emotes in chat, maybe that's something you can look forward to. But, oh, coming today, if as planned. That's interesting. Well, it's a good thing I'm off work this week and next week. I'll have plenty of time to work on that video. Anyway, that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully, I will see you all in another video soon. But until next time, everyone, take care.